Greetings from Costa Rica and happy Sunday. Thank you very much for joining me for today's Costa Rica chat with Costa Rica Matt. My name is Matt Rosensteel. I'm co-owner broker of Coldwell Banker Pacific Realty. And as always, on Sundays at 11 a.m. here on my YouTube channel, I like to provide straightforward information about all aspects of moving to Costa Rica and buying real estate here. Today, I have a very special interview recorded with one of Costa Rica's biggest YouTube stars. Michael Allen himself was generous enough to join me for an interview to explain to me a little bit about La Fortuna area real estate. If you're not familiar with La Fortuna, it's the town up near one of Costa Rica's most famous volcanoes, Arenal, and it's an extremely different area than where I'm working out in Western Guanacaste. Michael Allen, if you haven't checked out his channel, you absolutely should. He does travelcostaricanow.com and has been uploading YouTube videos for over a decade. He's a very colorful guy with all kinds of really strong opinions, but very much whenever he's broadcasting, he is trying to give straightforward information to people. And really, he's someone who doesn't sugarcoat whatsoever the reality of living in Costa Rica. In fact, he often likes to stir the pot a little bit by calling attention to some of the negative things. And overall, he's a voice on YouTube that is frequently trying to caution people to really think deliberately about whether or not they actually want to move to Costa Rica. And a lot of realtors might see him as somebody who's kind of in a conflict with what we're trying to do, because very much he's giving warnings to people about the dangers or some of the drawbacks of living here. And he's someone who doesn't necessarily jive with a lot of real estate agents' hopes that people will just come down here and buy property instantly. So anytime I can chat with Michael Allen, I absolutely try to. He's a wonderful person, and he and his partner recently launched Travel Costa Rica Now Real Estate, a separate channel where he and D'Angelo are talking about a lot of the different aspects of real estate. They do also put some listings on their channel, but as you'll find out from Michael in our interview, it's not nearly as focused on trying to sell real estate, and they're definitely not trying to become full-time realtors, but definitely to provide information about Costa Rica real estate in general. In our interview, we go over some of the differences between Arenal and our area of the country. We cover what real estate looks like up there and opportunities for people who want to move up there. For my audience, I think it's very interesting and relevant information because not everybody wants to live out here in Guanacaste. A lot of people want a cooler climate. They want to have a more moderate dry season. And really, this isn't for everybody. So La Fortuna might be a place in Costa Rica that you should consider relocating if Guanacaste isn't necessarily perfect for you. And Michael Allen could be an absolutely great resource for information if you start to consider that area of the country. Again, this is my Sunday live chat with Costa Rica Matt. If you like straightforward information about moving to Costa Rica, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate you tuning in today. I'm broadcasting from the comfy confines of my own couch and porch here. Do stay tuned for my interview here with Michael Allen of travelcostaricanow.com. Enjoy. Michael Allen, the world's most famous Costa Rica YouTuber, joins me now.
Please stop, Matt. Stop.
How have you been?
I've been good. Busy, but good. Busy is always good for me, and we have been busy. So it's been nice, actually.
Excellent.
Two thumbs
Michael
up.
has had travelcostaricanow.com, an agency that helps people book the vacation of their lifetimes in Costa Rica. For how many years now?
Oh my gosh, we started the travel agency and the videos about 13 years ago.
13 years as Travel Costa Rica Now. You recently launched a real estate business, or a real estate side to your business.
Right.
What the heck are you doing competing with me and all my buddies in the real estate world?
Well, I feel like we're not really competing, but because you kind of do a similar thing. We wanted to have a real estate channel that just wasn't pushing real estate. We have videos on there that is Costa Rica even right for you? Should you be building? Should you be buying? Maybe you shouldn't be buying real estate. So we wanted to have, like, we just put a video up like a week ago about somebody that's building a house. They're in the active progress of building a house. We want to provide all that information for people. We almost try to talk them out of buying, but if they're going to buy, we might have some properties. So, and you do a similar thing. You have videos on, is Costa Rica right for you? You know, all that kind of stuff. So we do a lot of interview stuff. It's just not properties. But
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
do, right.
Now, since
So we're
launching,
taking it, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, since launching, have you had anyone decide to buy real estate and close a deal here?
Oh yeah, for sure. Now we are taking it slow because we need help a little bit. We need some other people helping us with this. So we've just decided if we can't do 110%, we're just going to take it slow and steady and just progressively. We're really working on, you know, trying to get subscribers, trying to get hits on the video so we can kind of show numbers for people that do want to put their house on our site or their property or their business. And we can kind of go, look, you know, we do have this audience. And, you know, we didn't even really do anything. We have 2,000 subscribers. So yeah, that's pretty good for not really doing anything yet. So we're hoping, you know, what they say down here, poco a poco. But it's been, the process has been interesting. You've been in the field a long time, so you know a lot of these things. But I've been very intrigued and interested on the real estate that is in this area.
Well, and let's talk about your area. Fortuna couldn't be more different than Tamarindo and the coastline in a lot of ways. We're talking about mountain, the volcano as your primary tourist attraction. You're talking about a totally different climate than we have out here in Guanacaste, different distance from the airport. You know, in Tamarindo, we have, I don't know how many major international real estate brokerages. There's Coldwell Banker, there's Remax, on and on and on. The Blue Water Properties, a massive company that's actually locally grown. And you see that there are probably, for every 100 people who live in Tamarindo, there are 10 to 15 real estate agents because it's extremely active, and that's really a way of life. What are things like in the real estate world up in La Fortuna? Well,
you know what you just said? It's the total opposite here. It's low key. There's definitely people that are selling, you know, they're into the real estate, right? But it's not like, matter of fact, I think the only office we had before was Century 21, and it's no longer here. Now there are people, I mean, no doubt about it, but you know, it's the markets, you guys are on fire up there, I'm assuming. But I think what we've been seeing here is, you know, this is you know, it is a tourist destination, but before La Fortuna was a tourist destination, it's farmers. This is a farming, you know, area. So what's been interesting to me is outside of La Fortuna, you know, proper, there is some really good properties at very good prices. I mean, shocking. I mean, to me, I almost like, I've shot some video and I'll go, hey, how much is this anyway? And they'll throw out a number and I'll be like, wait a minute, no, you're kidding. Matter of fact, we almost want to add to it just because it doesn't seem like it's enough. So we've been seeing a lot of way cool properties, whether it's land, whether somebody's selling their house, whether it's 6 acres, it's been, and again, the prices have been way, if I had the money, I would have bought a few of these properties because
That's that's sounding like a something a realtor would say. La Fortuna is a big tourism destination. You've got a lot of people visiting. How has that not translated into, developers buying up some of these farms and trying to, set up Sunnyvale project and sell lots and condos to people?
well, it didn't really, it actually is kind of happening because I'm actually tied to one right now where there's a friend of mine that is starting a retirement community for 260 houses over, a lot of people don't know where this is, but we're in Fortuna over by Baldy Hot Springs. There's somebody
Yep.
donating a big chunk of land, and it's kind of a big community. We've seen a couple others pop up, but
Uh-huh.
still, it's this before it was a tourist destination. It was this whole place is owned by farmers, so
Yeah.
there's people that own massive amounts of land here. They'll own
Yeah, no,
200 hectares.
yeah. It sounds like you're just sort of in a different stage of development here. It sounds pretty exciting to have a 260 home project going in up there. Are you going to will you be helping your friend promote and sell this project?
Yes, we've already started. We've made 3 videos just on the progress. First, we introduced the project, and it was only at we have this land, but it's getting more
Okay.
exciting because all the environmentalists have come in, the topographers, the lawyers. So it's about, my friend said, about a month away from a bulldozer. So it's getting exciting to me. And what I like about what they're doing, it's going to be environmental. They're going to make some money, but they're not going to, they're not trying to gouge anybody. They're going to have, like, there's going to be stores there. Everything's organic. They're trying to do the, I mean, it's a really good vision. And if it's happens the way they're saying, I'm all on board, and I've been on board. So we make videos when something interesting happens because we're kind of keeping people up because they are kind of interested. A lot of the people that maybe watch up my channel or other channels that are interested in Costa Rica, they're helping people, with that investment of the house, get their residency if they want to go that route. I mean, it's a pretty big project, and
Yep.
so I'm excited to be part of it right now. But I'll tell you right now, and anybody listening, if it goes south and it's not exactly what they say it is or I say it is, I will tell you, because I'm
Excellent.
not. This isn't a money thing. This is a very interesting project to help people in their retirement age, and it is geared toward gringos mostly, but not necessarily. So I just like the vision. The vision is very interesting to me, and it seems well thought out and planned. So
Yeah, well, no, you have the right perspective, and you immediately use the phrase, if it turns out like they say it will, you've already got your guard up and you're waiting to see if they can come through. Because yeah, in Costa Rica and especially out here in Guanacaste, you've seen some very big promises that went unfulfilled year after year and projects that didn't pan out. I think that developers being sort of the first people providing those retirement communities up there could do extremely well for themselves, I'm sure. Because I have a ton of clients who are looking for something cooler. There are more and more North Americans every day that kind of want that more raw, rustic, real Costa Rica rather than the tourism areas out here where we've got, a lot more of the amenities, but also sort of, it definitely feels not quite as authentic anymore. Tell me about some of the real estate options up there. Let's say I've got $200,000 and I want to come up to Fortuna and, see what there is. What kinds of properties could you offer me for about that budget?
okay, I will answer that in a second. I just want to go back, and the reason I got on board with this other project is because the people the land is on, they're kind of almost donating it because they want to give back. And that's cool to me that they're not in it for the money grab. They literally want to help. And to me, that's a really good start. I just wanted to say that because
Yeah, absolutely. Will they donate me some land?
I know, right? Right. Oh, okay, so for 200,000, it depends on what you want. So do you want a big chunk of land with waterfalls on it? Are you wanting a house? Because you can get it. You can get an acre of land, a 3-bedroom. Now, when I say 3-bedroom, I think people think of these, I think they have an American way of thinking or North, but these are kind of Tico style houses, but nice, not totally basic or anything, but it is Tico style and laid out. Big patios, 2 or 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but kind of basic looking in a sense. I like it because it's simple, but you're on the grounds, there's avocado trees and mangoes, and maybe there's even another little house there, an Airbnb. My friends, this just happened last week, closed on one of the houses on our site, $120,000 for, I don't know, how many meters, 1,500, I don't know.
Almost 2,000, yeah.
2,000 meters, a nice house, and another Airbnb on it backed up against the river for $120,000. I was shocked when we were filming the property. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, the house isn't to their liking. They're still going to remodel a lot of it, but still for the value of it.
Yeah, they were going to come down, and they were planning on. I think they had a budget of around 300,000. Now they weren't. Now I don't know if people know Costa Rica. There is no perfect house. There is, there's always. So they have a couple things they want to upgrade and fix, or maybe make that wall or that room a little bigger. But when it was only 120,000 and they were thinking they were going to spend a lot more, they have that budget to do some of the things they wanted to do. And it's a beautiful property. It's private. Again, a river, another house, a big Airbnb, another house for 120. I mean, it's just
totally.
I couldn't believe it. So we've been running into a lot of those properties that I did not know existed.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Go ahead.
But no, for 2,000 square meters of land close to the beach can easily cost you 180 if you're in a quieter community. If you're very close to the beach and in a place like Tamarindo, you could be looking at easily 300, 350 just for the land.
Right.
Are there a good number of these sort of Costa Rican homes available? Do you see that there's a lot of inventory? Or is it limited?
Well, I thought it would be limited, but it doesn't seem to, because we keep filming these properties, and I'm always amazed at the price. Now, some of them have been a little bit more, but like I was telling you earlier, there's this one, it's 6 acres of land. There's a pond on the land, all these beautiful red palms, a 3-bedroom house, like 2-bedroom. Then a little bit away from the house is another 500 square meter party bar. I mean, they made it into a little bar, and then down in the property, back on the corner, way past all the sloths and the fruit trees, there's a workers' quarters, and it's what, 260?
Appraised at 880.
It was appraised at $880,000 8 years ago. There is a little issue with divorce and all that kind of stuff, but they're selling it for $260,000. 6 acres, beautiful. I just couldn't believe it. We're just floating around this property, and unbelievable.
Oh yeah, no, 6 acres alone, but for that amount in the coastal areas would have a much higher price point, just for the land investment to start out. Now, let's go over some basics for people who may not understand where you're located. How far are you from the San Jose airport or the Liberia airport? What kind of drive time does someone have to get to their airport?
Yeah, there's a couple things on that location question actually I want to get into. Okay, from the airport, if you live here and you've been doing it for a while, you're 2 hours away. If you haven't done it, usually about 3 hours away. But the other thing about the location, which is important to note, La Fortuna is one of the top tourist destinations in the world. And if you want a house in the middle of Fortuna, it is going to be more. So most of these properties are Okay, you're 20 minutes away from Fortuna. You know, there's a little drive. Not that there's not other little towns by you, you know, like Chachaagua and some of these places, but they're little towns, you know, and you might have to drive a minute to maybe, I don't know, get something you really want. So,
Yep.
and they're out a little bit. They are
Yep.
out a little bit. 20-minute drive, 25-minute drive, whatever it is. And that's where all the good land and purchases seem to be. Now, I believe that the reason for that could have been the pandemic. It could be because this whole area is kind of a farming community, and I'm just assuming maybe some people, or even people that have had restaurants here or adventure tours. You know, money became a problem during the pandemic. You know, 2 years of no tourists, and I think some people might be a little cash poor.
Oh,
This is just a
absolutely.
theory, just a theory. So I'm thinking, you know, they want to kind of, hey man, I need some fast money. I'm selling this place for 140 or whatever it is. So could be wrong on that, especially land. Seems like land. There's a lot of land here around,
Yep.
you know, to purchase. So
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the price points are everywhere. You know, some people are like, hey, I can get a lot for this land, and other people are just trying to unload their land. So it just depends. But
Yeah, there's a huge amount of the seller's perspective and their current circumstance that goes into pricing, where yeah, you might find those divorce situations and they have to liquidate at 50% of what it's actually worth. Or you get those people who couldn't care less about getting the money from the sale, and they are sitting on their asking price, and they're going to wait until somebody comes along who's willing to pay 100% of it, and really just sort of wait out the market.
well, can I tell a quick story about that? So we were
Yeah.
filming, we were filming the other day in La Fortuna Central, and it was a pretty nice house on about, I don't know, maybe 700 square meters. Really nice house, modern, you know, garage and everything. And like I always do, we're filming, and I was asking the real estate person, how much is this? And they said 400,000. And I'm like, no way, no way in the world. You are not going to use my site to fish your property. I'm
Yeah.
not. It literally is probably 225 tops. It's a
Well,
nice,
and
it's a nice property. It's a very nice property. But when they said, I know properties kind of close to Fortuna with 3 or 4 Airbnbs, a house, a big, you know, lot that are 400,000, you know, that you could get like,
okay.
you know, so I was like, man, that's kind of offensive, you know, because it
Yeah.
was just, I don't like that whole fishing thing.
No, 100%. There are also those sellers exactly who say, I'll go ahead and sell when my buyer comes along. And I definitely get those listing appointments too, where they'll say, hey, I'm interested in selling my home. Would you come by to give an evaluation? And, you know, it turns out that they're really just looking to make an enormous profit on what the property is actually worth, and that they're willing to put it out there for sale if the right buyer comes along. That's a phrase I hear a lot from people.
The
You know,
right
there
buyer
can
means sucker. The right buyer means a sucker. That's all that means.
No, totally. And a lot of times it has to be the buyer accompanied by the wrong agent who is, you know, I see a lot in our area, people representing their buyers who will do no analysis whatsoever as to what a property is actually worth. They're, you know, sort of prodding and cajoling their client, saying, oh, look at how nice this house is. It's only this price, but really they're not at all going to look at historic information and try and provide backup data. You know, this other property recently sold at this level, so really, you know, this one is overpriced. A lot of buyer's agents out here will simply just be trying to get a deal done, even if the value isn't there whatsoever. And especially in an area where you've got so many people selling real estate, I think that, you know, they use tactics that can be a little bit pushier at times. Now, do you feel in the La Fortuna area, are people safe buying property? Are there good attorneys that can guarantee they'll have a secure purchase with no hidden issues? Or is it still sort of formative up there?
Well, I try to circle myself with honest people such as yourself. So I do. I mean, I personally have a real estate lawyer that can, do all the due diligence for you and make sure everything is right. Now, I can't speak for, I'm not saying there's unscrupulous people everywhere. So I'm sure Fortuna is well, I know it's no different. I know some of the unscrupulous people, but it's so interesting the difference between where you are and where we are. The buyer is completely different here, completely different. Most people looking for any little bit of land, whether it's an acre or 6 acres, they're kind of, they want to start that, organic farm, or they want to raise chickens, or they want to have maybe build 2 or 3 cabinas and do an Airbnb, and a lot, the biggest thing now, Matt, around here at least, is all this wellness thing and life coaching, and oh my gosh, come here and relax, take your ayahuasca, and we'll I don't know, but so I think the buyer here is just totally different, but they get if they want to be maybe 20 minutes out of Fortuna, they want a nicer or a bigger piece of land. I mean, you can definitely find it here, no doubt about it. I'm a believer here.
I get these inquiries constantly, and I think a lot of people want what you're describing, and then they tack on, and I want it to have a beautiful ocean view, be just 4 blocks from the ocean itself. And probably over a dozen times a year, I turn away clients who are looking to start this organic farm, because here in Guanacaste, if you're not already a farmer, coming out to a lowland coastal area, this isn't just the Garden of Eden. And in fact, gardening here, producing your own food and dealing with, the heat and then the rainy season, it's not very easy. And I know that as you approach the Central Valley and get into a more moderate climate, there's a lot better opportunity for people, especially those who may not have a huge amount of experience. And I'm going to start sending them your way. One of the common things that I hear is, I want it to have a year-round water source so that I can have this beautiful stream running through the property. And alarm bells go off in my head, because they're looking in Guanacaste, where even the major rivers are seasonal. Creeks come and go, just for a few months. And they want to get into farming, and they have this idea of sustaining themselves off of a cute 5-acre plot out here. I was like, I think the first thing that a real farmer would do, or somebody who knows anything about really producing food, would be look at the climate in the area you're moving to, get an idea of where it might be easier, because it's not a simple task to just start up a farm, learn how to plant and grow your own food, and then actually live off it. We see a lot of people try that and end up in a world of pain after they've dumped their dream into this idea of being sustainable. Tell us a little bit more.
We shouldn't have used the word organic farming. What we should be using is the catchphrase of permaculture, because that's the big phrase down here. I want to do permaculture. I want to start a permaculture.
Yeah. For the 7 years I was directing a watershed NGO, the partner in the organization, the ecologist, had come down specifically with the idea of using permaculture to help people in Guanacaste farm better. 30 years later, he's got a ton of experiments at his place. He has wonderful rainwater capturing, but And he does have an amazing variety of bananas, bamboos, plants there, but it's definitely not this, perfect, idyllic, everybody's eating vegetables from the, farm itself kind of situation. It did not go that way. Tell me a little bit about the people who, who are the happiest expats that moved to Fortuna and really succeed there. We talked a little bit about some of the people who are looking. Who are the people that have just stuck to Fortuna like flies to sticky stuff?
Yeah. Well, it used to be, we used to kind of laugh about this because technically there's not a lot of gringos that live in Fortuna proper. I mean, kind of on the outskirts or wherever. Even what I'm saying is the place is 20. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about kind of in La Fortuna. There, we would try to count them, and then we'd get up to maybe 40 people. But what's been happening in the last few years, COVID included, is we are seeing more of an influx of people looking for that permaculture place, that kind of thing. And those people, if they do their homework and their research, I got one of the greatest stories. I'm trying to get this guy to do a video. He is 25 years old, but only a number. This guy knows what's going on. He's getting ready to buy 10 hectares, 3 waterfalls. I think I was saying something about that earlier, but 3 waterfalls. And he's got a pretty big plan. For 25, he happens to have money. So he's able to do it that way, but he's done his homework. He's taking it slow. He's not just he's looking at tons of properties, and because with that whole 3 waterfall thing, that's all over here in this area. So it seems to be, but I've also had people that haven't been doing their homework, and they just think they can come down here, buy some land, and I'm gonna do a retreat. I'm gonna get some volunteers, and I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. I mean, they have a kind of I love their spunkiness. The idea is it's not. They love their idea. They're thinking, oh, this is not going to be a problem. These people never make it. They never make it. You got to come. I think you got to come in. This is good. It's a tough business now, man. Even if you have the best of ideas. And the best of land, how do you market that thing you're doing, or if you're trying to, maybe grab the tourists or grab those people to come to your retreat, those things are tough, tough, not let alone building and going through all that kind of stuff. So this 25-year-old seems to really know what he's doing, and
he's got money at 25. He can't be that dumb.
Well, I don't actually, because I did ask him. I go, do you come from money? I mean, Tesla stock. He got Tesla stock, because I have some friends that did the Bitcoin thing, and they kind of put all their eggs in one basket, and they're leaving because they need to go make some money. But I was like, Tesla stock in the beginning, good idea.
Oh no, just this morning, my breakfast appointment was somebody who had been looking at maybe $1 million or more. Now with Bitcoin the way it is, he mentioned, I've had a really rough 6 months financially. I said, oh, were you into crypto? And poor you, a lot of people's plans for sustaining themselves financially, you have to have something that's not just Ether or Ethereum rather. When you come to Costa Rica, you have to have a solid game plan. And I think especially in an area like where you are, where there is this abundant land available just outside of town, it could be a great idea for people to come, plop themselves down in a rental in La Fortuna or one of the surrounding communities, and just start to live there and really scope out what's going on. Because you might take a trip through town one day and say, oh, there's no permaculture hostel on this street, so I'm sure it's going to work if I'm the first one that does it. And there could be millions of reasons in the context that would clearly say that's not going to work. And you're only going to figure that out and really get the research done for your business plan, I feel, by living in a place and really getting to, you know, the on the ground day to day of how things work. I know people also really get excited that first time they come and they find an idyllic spot. It may be on a bad road, but they love the countryside too much, but they've never experienced what it's like to live up a really bad road when it starts to rain like heck and you barely want to leave your property. So to me, you know, as you emphasize a ton on your channel, really getting the feel for a place by visiting and living there can be the absolute best first step before you start calling all of us realtors and saying, oh, I saw that amazing house you have for $120,000. You know, find out if that house is located in a place that you actually want to live.
Well, what you
So
just said, what you just said is very accurate, because, you know, a bad road could break you, What if you're trying to cater to tourists, but they can't get up the road, you know, or whatever.
Oh,
And
exactly.
that could literally happen. And that's just one little thing of about a million things that could actually go wrong. That's if
Yep.
things go right. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't, you know, so, you know, you really got to do your, I guess you wouldn't really even know to ask that a lot of times. So you would have to trust either the, you know, a real estate agent or maybe the real estate lawyer, because again, a bad road could literally break you.
Yep.
You know,
So where do you see yourself going from here? Are you going to be focused on real estate more and more as time goes on? Is it going to continue to be a side thing for you along with your travel company? What's your plan?
Oh, no, I don't want, no. I want to make videos for the real estate channel, but I actually don't want to run it. I would rather have somebody kind of running the whole thing. And okay, so in other words, I make a video with you, I want to do that. I want to make videos talking to people that have built down here. I want to talk to people about their experiences, whether it's buying or building or whatever it is, and keep putting those up there. And every now and then, I don't mind filming property, but what I'd really like to have is somebody manage the site, find the properties, get the people to you know, record or whatever it is. I don't really want to. I like my channel better. I like I like doing that. But the real estate thing, I just think it's, you know, I got to keep the lights on too. You know, I got to make a little bit of money. We've given free information out for so many years. People don't realize that you know, we got to make a little bit of money. So I think, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, Coldwell Banker, there's no major recognized name currently in La Fortuna. We're definitely looking for partners in different parts of the country to continue that establishment of the brand name further. So it's disappointing that you don't want to just throw yourself in head over heels into real estate, because I see, you know, in my business, YouTube and the information I provide, it leads to a very great piece of income when somebody meets me on my channel, they decide to buy property through me, and 6 months later, a year later, I'm making 3% of a real estate deal representing them. I don't know how you've been so successful giving away free information and then booking tours for people. You know, it's very admirable that, you know, your model has included this massive amount of free information with, you know, what the payoff that isn't necessarily as gigantic as 3% of a Tamarindo or Langosta or Junquial home. So thanks from the YouTube community to you. No, and you know, it'll be really interesting. What I'd love to do is schedule a Costa Rica real estate road trip up to Fortuna. Come check out what's available, see what you can, you know, show me, because Very often I'm connecting with people who don't necessarily want to be in the hottest part of the country. They contact me with this vision of getting a perfect mountain view and a cooler climate. And La Fortuna, for you folks who are looking for that kind of Costa Rica experience, and the surrounding areas outside of La Fortuna could be an absolutely amazing place to find a property. If you're looking for that permaculture farm, if you want to come down here and get back to the land, it's highly likely that that land will be cheaper in an area that hasn't seen as much international development and really the influence of foreigners quite as much as we see out here on the coast. I find myself saying that to people a lot of times. They want 60 acres and they want to be close to a community. Well, in our area, if you want to be close to amenities and have a larger piece of land, the land values here have already doubled prior to 2009. Recently, they doubled again. You've seen all of that influence take the price of land, you know, really high, whereas there are other parts of the country that are still uninfluenced by that or not to the same degree. If you haven't checked out Michael Allen's channel, I bet you have. If you're watching mine, you've definitely seen his. Look him up. He's Travel Costa Rica Now. Also, Travel Costa Rica Now Real Estate. I really appreciate you joining me to talk about real estate in Fortuna, Michael. It's always a huge pleasure. And as soon as the weather is looking nice up there, let's book a trip up so that I can bring the boys again and do something fun because we're getting stir crazy.
For sure, yeah.
Absolutely.
Again, yeah, a pleasure with you, Matt, always. I can't wait to do it again. We don't do it enough. I think we should be doing it probably a little bit more, but
absolutely. Well, we'll try. Let's make the resolution so that we can just break it a couple weeks from now.
Right.
Anyhow, thanks again, Michael Allen with TravelCostaRicaNow.com. Appreciate it.